right, sick. It says it's streaming live on Facebook. I'm just waiting for the actual page to update. There it is. All right, sick. Click to expand. Mute that. Cool. I've got the chat over here on the side. Wow, that delay is going to mess with me. Cool.
All right, so we've got a handful of people joining in.
Sick. All right. I'm going to post an Instagram story about it. Oh, hey.
How's it going, Mary?
Sweet.
Mike, how's it going?
Hello, hello, everybody.
So we'll get started here in just another moment or two. Hey, Carson, there's just to answer your quick question there. The guests of the meeting are going to be joining via Zoom, and then it's going to be broadcast live via Facebook. Okay, so you guys can join in from Facebook. All right. How's it going, Elena? I see Dan's joined. Ted. Hey, how's it going, Ted? My wife Mercedes has joined. Thank you very much for continuing to put up with me.
Yeah, we're kicking off, guys.
All right. Well,
hey, so looks like it didn't look like in Zoom we could only see you, but it looks like when we stream to Facebook, we can just see you, Paul, when you share your screen.
Ah, gotcha. All right, so.
No.
All right, so all right, well, let's go ahead and get started, Chris.
All right, let's do it.
All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the first episode of Paul's Garage Live. Welcome to my garage. I'm Paul Klem. I'm the Triangle Rock Club Morrisville Programs Manager. And as with many of you, have been finding myself at home here a little bit more than normal recently. And so I figured we would use this, opportunity that we're all at home telecommuting to share in with one another. So let's see here. So yeah, so that's who I am. And then we've got Chris here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, everybody? Hey, how's it going? I work at TRC. I'm also, climbing photographer and filmmaker, and of course a climber just like everybody else in this whole thing in Raleigh. But yeah, I'm psyched to bring a little bit of community back.
Yeah, he's a very humble climbing photographer indeed, Chris. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Paul. Thank you.
yeah, you know, he has some pretty good subjects occasionally too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, we
Yeah, well, I
might,
think we're gonna see a couple of those later on.
yeah. So,
Couple of,
but yeah, he goes. His handle on Instagram is Shoeless Media. So
yes,
you'll
sir.
probably be hearing me refer to him as Shoeless from time to time. Nice little shorthand. It's less syllables than Chris, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
The
So,
brand is strong. The brand is strong.
well, cool. Well, why are we here? Basically, the mission of this live stream is to have a weekly conversation with members of the climbing community, covering all things climbing, sharing stories, and mostly stoke, right? Because, you know, we're all a little bit removed probably from the normal things that we've been up to, primarily around climbing. Um, so how's it going to work? So there's going to be kind of uh, pre um, a prefixed menu, if you will, each week. So we're going to kind of have similar segments that we'll be covering. We want this to be an interactive opportunity um, for members of the community and the guests that we have on the show to kind of have some dialogue back and forth. Um, So how's it going to work? So we're going to have a theme each week. Chris and myself are going to be hosting. We're going to be flipping through some various media online to kind of follow along with our discussions. We're going to have a guest each week. This week, we've got Mike Reardon, who's the executive director of the Carolina Climbers Coalition. He's going to be joining us here on our Zoom call. And you know, we have the opportunity to be able to, you know, send out invites a couple times throughout the meeting to those that are viewing, if they'd like to maybe join in for the conversation during each of our segments. So we'll be looking for you guys to raise your hand, maybe be interested in joining a Zoom chat with us about the various segments that we're going through. So what are the segments? So we're going to have weekly updates and news. So obviously a lot of news coming at you this week since this is our kind of first show. We're going to do a what are you up to segment. I think that's going to be pretty fun. What do you think, Chris?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a lot of stuff to go over.
Yeah. So, you know, what we're hoping to do there is kind of highlight what you guys, your friends, members of the community are doing while we're all kind of staying at home and not able to get to the gym. So that could be, you know, training for climbing that you're able to do in your house, body weight exercises, books, movies, funny, you know,
And
funny jokes and things that you're doing to stay connected with your friends and your social circle.
exactly. And we want to hear from you guys about that. So since this is the first one, we're kind of curating some stuff, but going forward, we want to hear about what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So, you know, we hope that, you know, through the Facebook chat during the live feature that you guys will be able to chime in with questions or comments. And if you've got a good story, you know, maybe we can get you to dial in and let us know what's going on. So yeah, so we'll have the what are you up to segment and then also the Crag highlights. So each week we're going to go through some pics and some videos, give some beta on some different local crags. We're going to start locally and kind of work our way out a little bit more remotely. Maybe we'll see some, you know, world-class climbing sites that, you know, we might be able to check out in the next couple weeks. So yeah, and then towards the end, we're going to have a section that we are just going to call stuff to keep you stoked. This is going to be consumables, essentially. These are curated links, suggestions from Chris and myself initially, but again, we want to hear from you guys. What are you guys getting into reading, watching, you know, during this time, or have suggestions for other folks?
Yep. Yep.
All right. And like I said, key thing is, we want to interact with you guys. So, all right, cool. So
Awesome.
this week's theme, Chris, what's this week's theme?
It's the new normal. So what we're all dealing with right now, with how everything's, a little different, but for the foreseeable future, this is what normal is.
Yep. So, it's hopefully it's not for too long. I think, I was talking with my wife, Mercedes, and she was like, hopefully it's not a normal in a sense that it's going to be this way forever. But I think, like you said, kind of at least for the time being,
it's definitely what we're all dealing with right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
All right, just checking the stream. Does it look okay on your side, Chris? I'm getting a little pause on mine.
Looks all right for me.
Okay, cool.
Just a little delay as expected.
All right. So yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about, again, what we're all doing to kind of stay active, stay in touch with one another, stay healthy, stay sane. I think that's a big part of it, is trying to figure out, what you can do,
Absolutely.
to kind of keep going. And like I said, we're going to have our guest this week is going to be Mike Reardon. So he's going to come on, tell us a little bit about the Carolina Climbers Coalition, some of the projects that they're working on across the Carolinas, what their response has been around the COVID-19 issue, and what their outlook might be with that. And yeah, so that's kind of, and the Crag highlight, of course, the Crag highlight.
Of course, you can't forget the Crag highlight.
Yeah, so Crag highlight is going to be Asheboro Boulders.
Oh, yes.
AKA the Burl.
The Burl.
So many of you may have heard, some of you may have been, anyway,
yeah,
we're going to learn a little bit more about it.
Looking forward to that. All right.
Okay. So, all right. So we're going to start off with the news. So
let's jump right in.
So, sorry, I'm getting a little pingy ping here.
Make sure everything's going all right over here. It's looking all right.
Okay. So, so first off, we want to thank everybody for joining. I think that we're all kind of trying to figure out what to do. Many of us probably would be out socializing with friends at this time of the day and week. So, thanks for taking the time to kind of join in and reconnect with the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really love having you all here. We want to make sure we, everybody involved.
And yeah, so, thanks for joining. Thanks for your continued support to TRC. I know myself and a couple other team members have been reaching out and contacting a number of members over the last couple days, just kind of check in and see how things are going. We've been posting some live fitness classes through the Triangle Rock Club Live Facebook page. So I'm sure many of you have been seeing those. Hopefully you're taking advantage of those. I think in the coming weeks, Mary Kay, our fitness coordinator, is going to continue to, kind of tweak that. She's going to continue to kind of tweak the offerings so that there's kind of new stuff each week for people to check out. And I think we're going to probably start to see a little bit more deeper dive into specific muscle group trainings and things like that in the future. So, another thing, do also want to thank everybody that may be participating in the opt-in program with TRC. I know that we were, as a company, really floored by the response that we were receiving from our members saying, how they could help during this time. So really appreciate everybody who's been able to help. I know that not everybody is able to help right now. There's a lot of people that are, out of their job, or, income may, not be coming in at the same rate that it was before the pandemic. So we certainly can understand and identify with that, and just appreciate, the support from the community. So
It really does mean a lot. We really appreciate it.
yeah. So anyhow, so moving on to kind of news that definitely affects all of us, I'm going to see here. See if I can share my screen. All right. Is that working, Chris?
It sure is.
All right, cool deal. So yeah, so we've got the coronavirus relief bill got signed into law today by President Trump. So that is certainly something that we're all kind of keeping an eye on. There was definitely some good information in there about how it's going to help. Let's see if I can get down here. Small businesses like Triangle Rock Club to continue to make payroll payments to their employees through June. There's also going to be direct payments to all tax-paying Americans. So individuals can receive up to $1,200, and married couples will get $2,400 is the max that you can qualify for. So hopefully this will help, provide a little bit of relief for, not only the gym, but other, the average person out there that's joining today. So what else we got? So next big news topic, Governor Cooper announced today that there's a statewide stay-at-home order beginning this coming Monday through April 29th. So many of us have already been, staying at home. There's a Wake County order, a Durham citywide order. Orange County's been following suit. So I think we all have kind of been seeing this one coming for a little while. And, I think that we all realize that it's probably the right thing for right now to kind of stem the tide of the spread of the COVID-19.
Certainly.
So let's see here. What else we got? So how does this kind of all affect climbers? Certainly, that means that we're probably, going out climbing at this point is probably not a necessary sort of activity in the state.
Hard to justify for getting out during a stay-at-home order.
Yeah. So, and then I've also got here a post from the NC State Parks that kind of lists the current state parks that are closed.
Sure looks like a ton of them, if not all.
Yeah, I think some of the local ones here haven't been closed yet. Like I don't think there's been any notice about Umstead.
I think Umstead's that top one up there. Umstead, Eno, and Okanichi, all near the Triangle area. They look like they're all closed starting today.
Okay, so
everything else going forward is closed as well.
Thanks for your eye there, Chris.
Gotcha.
So yeah, at this point, it's kind of, we're going to be kind of, reserved to our neighborhoods and kind of those areas.
Tom Caldwell says the South Carolina state parks also are closed until April 30th, at least. Could go forward from there.
Okay, yeah. So Tom is the current president of the CCC. Like I said, I'm sure we have a number of CCC members joining in on the stream to kind of check in with our fearless leader, our executive director, Mike Reardon, who will be joining us here in a few minutes.
Indeed, indeed.
So that kind of covers the big stuff going on with us right now. What else would you guys like to know? Would you like to hear about in the future about updates or news updates, things like that for next week?
Yeah.
So feel free to comment in.
Good time to mention we have a little bit of a delay going on between the stream and our call, so it may take a second for us to get to your question or comment, but it does come into us.
Yeah, so think about for future weeks, like what you'd like to hear about. If you have questions, you can shoot me an email at paul@trianglerockclub.com. So those sorts of things. Okay.
Well, hey there, Dakota.
Yeah, so
cool.
All right, so I guess we can move on to the "What are you up to" segment.
Good. We talked about the shelter. We did talk about the shelter in place thing. Let's move on to the "What are you up to?"
Yeah, so we might get some comments and things rolling in like here about the last segment, but so we might comment on that. But idea really here is kind of figure out what you're up to. So you're here. That means you're probably at home on your computer with your family and friends. Maybe you're having a beverage.
Mayhaps.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm trying to hydrate myself. I've got my Rumble Revolution 2019 stainless steel pint that I got last year's Rumble, which was up at the Rumbling Bald. It's a CCC event.
An absolute blast.
Yep. So we just had one about a month ago.
Yeah, it was a great time. We had some great weather, a really solid event.
Michael Barnett says that he next week they want to see Paul get a haircut with a vacuum cleaner. What's it with always giving Paul haircut suggestions? It's all my life. I swear. It's people.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of that.
If you ask me, the team name, Chris and I were on an adult bouldering league team together,
yes.
And it was the team name was Epic Hair Game,
which was very fitting.
It was
everybody
fitting
on that team, man. We all have the flow.
Nice. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
So what are you guys? Are you drinking out there? Are you guys having something to drink currently, or?
Sure hope you guys are. At the very least, staying hydrated, right?
Allergy season these days is probably worse than most years that I can remember. So yeah, I've got the steel pint, the Sheets cup. Everybody knows my love for the Sheets.
Sheets cup, indeed.
Yeah, Sheets coffee.
Very important.
Mm-hmm. Homebrewed here. I didn't go to the Sheets,
indeed.
So it's
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm here. Like I said, I've been here at the house since like last Tuesday. So
Dakota says Paul in the Sheets from downstairs.
Everybody knows about my Sheets.
Everybody knows what's up.
So well, cool. So what else has been going on? Online fitness. TRC has been having our having our instructors offer yoga classes, a lot of body weight training stuff. So basically, you just need a mat and a place to do it. So it could be your living room. You could go out in your front yard. Any of these things work. What else have people been doing?
Well, we're getting a lot of drink recommendations rolling in.
Oh, are we?
Ton of stuff, yeah.
Okay, so we have.
Chomsky's having a wine. Chomsky's got wine.
Yeah, someone's
got a homebrew Hefeweizen. That sounds delicious.
Yes, I think he brewed that. I think that's Kyle.
Kyle
Tomek. Yeah, he's a home brewer.
That's
also
fantastic.
Pretty hard climber,
Sweet.
Yeah,
it's a good combo.
That's good. We have, I think someone said at Ujim Brown Ale.
Ooh, yeah.
A Rasputin.
That's Mike. That's Mike.
Got a Ryan Ginger.
Ooh, delish.
Nice. Oh, a Negroni.
And an entire bottle of wine.
A Negroni, Christy Pinnell.
That's
very nice. That's classy.
Yeah.
My brother Matt, I think, is on the phone on the line as well, and he'd be proud to know that there's someone drinking Negroni out there.
Very nice.
So yeah, but yeah, what are people doing to stay connected, man? I mean, we're Zooming, we're FaceTiming, Duo. I got the Google Duo, so I can talk to all my non-Apple friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important to stay connected across devices.
Yeah, and just a phone call, right? Like I think I've called you on the phone like a handful of times the last couple of days. It's nice. It's been great. Just, hear someone's voice.
Exactly.
So
get to chat with somebody for a little while.
So what about some exercise? What have folks been doing for exercise?
Well, I can tell you what we've been doing up here. We've been, we're getting tagged in all those social media challenges and everything, all the push-ups and pull-ups and everything.
Right. The C10 give 10 challenges.
Exactly.
Am I quoting it right?
Yep, exactly. The C10 give 10. We've gotten a ton of those rolling in. So
yeah. So what kind of things have we been doing? I'm gonna play like I haven't been tagged.
Just pretend that it never happened. Sounds like a good plan. We got all those things going on as well.
Yeah, so basically for the folks that may have not been clued in yet, you're probably just any moment going to be
definitely
challenged by somebody to do some push-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 pull-ups.
10 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, 10 of anything. Is if you see 10, you got to give 10 and do 10 of something.
Yes, and that is the upstanding thing to do when you get challenged. Is to push, to keep pushing it on. If we can be in the honesty circle here, I have not been living up to my end of the challenge bargain.
Now, I did mine. I just didn't post them.
Okay. Well, I've been doing pull-ups and push-ups.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I promise I have.
That's how we get out of it.
So yeah.
Well, I've definitely.
We've got some people are mountain biking. I see kettlebell swinging. Wow, that's cool. You got kettlebells. You can do a lot around the house if you've got some kettleboards.
Oh, certainly. Those are really versatile.
Hangboarding their face off. Yes, hangboarding.
Absolutely.
I actually, I've got this home wall here, obviously, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Yeah.
But for much longer, I've had a hangboard that has just been sitting in the back of my garage somewhere that I finally hung up yesterday. Good on me. Yeah. Got a nice little hangboard workout in as well. So
yeah. Well, actually, if I can share my screen real quick, Dakota built us a beautiful little hangboard out of some scraps we found around the house.
Nice.
We got some slopers. We've got some tiny little crimp edges. Got some decent edges, some jugs, and we've got a piece of slate that he screwed onto a piece of plywood that really just hurts. I have not been able to hang that thing yet, to be honest. Whew.
That's just mean, Dakota.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's heinous.
It's going to harden you.
I love it.
But yeah, definitely something you. He says the important thing is to keep the outside skin. That's why you have a piece of
The slate, yes.
on there.
Yes.
But anyway.
Nice, very good. Yeah, I mean, I think the hangboarding at this point in time is going to be the best way to keep your fingers kind of strong. There's a lot of, you can make something at home if you've got some scrap wood. I know the hardware stores are actually staying open. They're considered essential stores. And many of them are going to online ordering that you could do like a curbside pickup if you need to get any materials. So that's something to consider. TRC had been selling some supplies of hangboards and things that we had in stock. So there may be some still available. You could reach out to by email gearshop@trianglerockclub.com and see if we've got any in stock that you might could also arrange for a curbside pickup. Sometime here soon. Otherwise, maybe making something. I have another. Let's see here.
Oh, look at that! Michael Barnett wants to see on-site resoles fix a shoe next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can get you live streaming in from your van, from the workshop.
Yes. So here's a TRC member, Jeremy Ruiz, actually has been making some hangboards himself. So these are kind of fancy, actually.
Oh yeah, they look great, honestly.
A
little different than the one I just shared.
yeah, but I mean, it can, like I said, we've all got a little bit more free time on our hands.
Exactly.
There's another, Acorn Climbing is another local company that makes hangboards here in Raleigh. So you might could reach out to this company, Acorn Climbing. Perhaps you could arrange for a shipment or to pick one of these up in the meantime.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to hang if you just have a door frame like you see here. I like to mount it on a piece of plywood. What you can see is that along the edge of the door, you've got the studs, right? They're on the outside of the door frame. So if you take a piece of plywood that's slightly larger than the door frame, then you can anchor in the plywood along the stud, right? And then anchor your hangboard in anywhere onto the flat plywood. So that way you don't, you can make sure that you're secure in the wall and you're not, into just the drywall with your hangboard.
Yeah. Otherwise that leads to some rough falls.
Yeah, exactly. You probably get smashed in the head with the hangboard.
Not great.
To injury.
By the way, Kyle, thanks for dropping that link to Acorn in there for us. Appreciate that. Yeah. It's definitely, if you have your own hangboard, hanging it up in there is a fantastic project to kill some time. Absolutely. And then if you don't have one, of course, building one like Dakota did for us out here it kills even more time, right? If you got scraps of wood around the house and something to mount them on, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Oops, drop something.
You might want to do a little sanding if you are going to build one, but make sure it's not going to cut you or anything. But it's a good way to occupy some time and build something that you can train on.
Nice. What are some other things people are doing? Reading a book, maybe. I've got a pretty sweet book right here, The Impossible Climb by Mark Sennett. It's about the Alex Honnold free solo of El Cap, but it's also kind of a little bit of an autobiography about Mark, who's also a North Face athlete, who's been, traveling the world for the last 20 years as part of North Face, going on crazy expeditions. Yeah, so Mark came by actually a few months ago for the free solo premiere here, and I got to meet him over at the Great Outdoor Provisions, and he
That's awesome.
signed it. So yeah, this is sweet.
Hey, look at that.
Signed by Mark Sinnott there.
Woo!
Yeah, pretty
Look at
cool.
that. That's cool.
So almost done. Got about 100 pages left. I know what happens in the end. I won't ruin the story for everybody else.
I wish I could hold up my book of choice, but I don't have it up here with me. But The Push, the Tommy Caldwell memoir, is a really, really good read. Really, we'll get into all that stuff a little more later as well. But definitely recommend.
Yeah. So what else have we got? Cooking. I think everybody's probably been doing a little bit more cooking these days. I know I have. I haven't cooked a ton at all in my entire life, really.
Same, Paul.
You know, it's
absolutely.
But I can't take too much credit because it's really been my wife Mercedes who's been delivering the dishes day after day. You know, I think I'm eating healthier. You know, because we're eating at home.
Good to hear. Getting
a lot of avocado toast.
Yes, actually, us too. We've been slamming the avocados a lot. It's a good source of something.
Nice. So a lot of avocado toast, a lot of guacamole. You know, I've not been able to go out shopping, but we've been doing grocery deliveries from like Shipt and Amazon. Have had a couple friends go and pick some stuff up for us. So basically, give you the backstory, my wife and I and daughter were all traveling in Argentina. We got back to the States on March 17th. So we've been doing the 2-week self-quarantine, essentially trying not to go out. So, you know, we're feeling okay, but we, you know, just want to make sure that, you know, if we did get exposed to something that, or, you know, we're not passing it on to others. So
exactly.
So we've been super lucky. A couple of my neighbors have actually, you know, tacked on a couple things to their grocery run for us. Picked up some milk and ice cream and beer, maybe some beer. So yeah, I mean, I think during this time we're all kind of just like, you know, trying to band together, just 6 feet apart, just be 6 feet apart, but together.
And help each other out from that good 6 feet apart.
Yeah, exactly. So, so cooking. Yeah. So, you know, take an opportunity. There's a lot of people out there on social media that are really good cooks that, you know, will share that on their live, you know, their stories and things like that. I've been surprised by how much cooking material I've been consuming in addition to eating really good food.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Grill
out sounds really good, JP.
Ooh, grilling out. Yes, the weather's been actually getting kind of nice here. We're gonna have a nice weekend, right?
The spring is coming in. Yeah.
Nice. You brought up on-site resoles earlier. That's something you could do. I was talking to Ian King earlier from On-Site Resoles, and he's here locally in Henderson at his family's house, and is able to take resoles by mail. Yeah. Yep. So if you're probably not using your shoes right now, maybe not for a few more weeks, so it might be a good time to think about sending your shoes off to Ian.
Absolutely, it's a good time to not have them on you.
Yeah, and you can contact him at his On-Site Resoles. He's got a webpage. Also on Instagram is probably the best way to just send him a message there.
Ian, either we can drop your link in there, or you can.
You know, other things you can be doing, trying to support local businesses, right? You know, we've got a lot of restaurants that are still trying to make ends meet. Some breweries like Bond Brothers, I know over here in Cary,
which is offering
delivery. Many of you guys, they're offering delivery. They'll also bring food as well. They pair up with a food truck each day.
They've had bulgogi a lot recently. It's which is delicious.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that they are doing let's try and find this here. Sort of event this weekend. It's like a virtual event.
I'm not familiar with what you're mentioning.
Yeah, I know. I just saw
here.
it recently. I'm going to try and pull it up here. See if I can share.
Let's see what I can find.
All right. See this here? Saturday local brew drive-through.
Oh, look at that.
So that's tomorrow from 12 noon. Basically, it's going to be a sanitary pickup line. So they're calling it the local brew drive-through.
Awesome.
2 tents set up. You'll need to pre-order online is best, or there will be a drive-up walk-in line. So it's going to be all no touch. And they're going to encourage everybody to pre-order because that'll help streamline the process. And then they're also going to have a food truck on site, I believe, if you want to pick up some food there.
Oh yeah, and Mercedes was asking where Volkogi was. It'll be at Bond Brothers, and they can deliver the food along with the beer you order if you place an order through their website. If that's the day that Volkogi is there. Oh, that's a good point, Abraham. Tomorrow is not April 28th. That'll be about a month from now. Will be that drive through. So that'll be a little time to wait, but
thank you.
Well worth it. Thank you, Abraham.
Yeah, you're right. The 28th of April, not.
Yeah, I misread this. I misread that as well.
Yeah, sorry, because that's it's a Saturday. It's almost 1 month off. So tomorrow's the 28th as well. Anyway, of March.
All right. Well, good.
All right. Cool. We're getting
something to plan for.
Yep, keeping things going. The last thing I kind of want to talk about was my home wall. I'm sure many of you kind of have been noticing that I have a pretty sweet rock climbing wall in my garage.
I have to mention, I love the chalkboard paint.
Yeah, so chalkboard paint on there so I can kind of tack up different routes.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln said, "Stop touching my face." Yeah. Don't worry, Abraham. I'm sequestered at home. I washed my hands prior to the show. I'll wash them after. I'll not touch anybody else.
Same distance. Keeping everything nice and sanitary.
Yeah, keeping it nice and clean.
Absolutely.
So the rock wall. So I used a pretty sweet guide that you can get online from Metolius.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. It's really in depth. It's really helpful.
Free PDF. It will tell you, it'll walk you through step by step, kind of how to evaluate your space, how to kind of build out a model, how to, what sort of materials you might need, right? So it gives you a list of the different type of wood and tools and hardware that you'll need to put it up. Also gives you considerations for the type of lumber that you want to use. You notice my wall is at a pretty steep angle. So I had to build it with some heavier duty wood. You can see here, this side beam right here is a 2x10. It's actually a pretty big piece of wood. So walls angled steeply like this one need to be built kind of more to the standards of floor, versus if you have a vertical wall, you can do that with 2x4s. So you can kind of see here a couple different ideas on how to use your space. Okay, and then let's see here, what else? So I went ahead and drew out a little plan for mine that was to scale on some graph paper, had all of my spec materials here that were going to be needed. So yeah, and then I can take a look back here at I had a post about the build, and you can kind of see kind of a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see here.
The throwback to.
Yeah, this is before the chalkboard paint, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a set. That was I cleaned it and then I cleaned the holds and then put chalkboard paint up. So you can see here, you can get a drill bit that drills a 3/8" hole. I went ahead and gridded it out so that I had kind of even spacing for my holds. My wall is it's 12 feet of vertical climbing with about 7 feet wide of climbing. So I was able to do that with three sheets of plywood. They come in 4x8 feet section standard. So 3 sheets, drilled holes, knocked in T-nuts. So I just did the hammer in type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also the screw-on variety, which are a little more secure, but a little more involved.
Yeah, a little more time intensive, but they're probably, with the screw-ons, you still have to hammer them in, but then you also have to screw in 3 bits. But those bits actually act as teeth and prevent the T-nut from stripping. So that's a definite problem that you run into when you have a wall. Any of our setters can attest to that.
I've knocked out a couple T-nuts at the home wall myself.
There's a picture of me. Not what I was looking for.
Ben says he would recommend against the hammer in T-nuts. I'd like to hear why that is. If it's just the security of it, the tendency to strip, or if it's if there's anything else to it. Just out of curiosity. Also, Ben, yes, Dakota is right. I'm not living in a yurt. I'm on the top floor of this house. I'm in a loft right now, but up in Maine with a couple of friends, isolating.
Hey, Naymat, good to hear from you, buddy. Question, do rock climbers use dynamic or static rope? They use both. You're going to use primarily dynamic rope to climb. So if you're doing any outdoor climbing or lead climbing, you definitely want a dynamic rope to provide some additional stretch for you.
It'll soften the falls a little bit.
Yeah, but then static rope can also be used for rappelling. A lot of times people like Chris, who may be doing some photography, they use it to kind of hold themselves in place for a given shoot. So there are definitely ways to go with those.
Yeah, as a photographer, a static rope is easier to ascend versus descend. It doesn't stretch as much, so it doesn't bounce as much. It's just a little easier to transfer your momentum. But a dynamic rope in a fall will catch you a little softer than a static rope and won't hurt as much to fall on.
My brother chimed in, if the guide to building a wall tells you how to recruit a squad for build day. That's pretty good, Matt. That's
an important, the tip is offer pizza and beer and everything will work out fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a couple other considerations. So the wood that I use is actually treated wood. It's like deck grade wood.
Okay.
So because I thought it was going to be outside and maybe moisture was involved. If you're going to have it inside, it doesn't need to be treated. Treated wood is more expensive. It's heavier. But I could have probably gone with untreated wood inside the garage, on second hindsight. So But if you do buy treated wood, you got to make sure that the hardware that you buy, like the screws that go into it, are going to be coated to prevent corrosion that can happen from the chemicals that are in the treated wood. You wouldn't want the board to fall over after a couple years, because certainly, especially if you were on it.
Yeah, you never really want the ball of the board to fall over. I think that would be catastrophic in any way. Oh, Ian's dropping us some knowledge on about ropes in the chat. It's all really interesting. Things I did not know.
All right, cool deal. Yeah, so that, you can build your own wall. I actually built this little small wall for my daughter just this past weekend with the scraps from the bigger wall. So yeah,
Thing's cool.
That's
That's adjustable, isn't it?
Yes. So yeah, so it's right now it goes slab to vert. So basically it's anchored at the top behind on kind of a hinge system that allows the wall to kind of move up and down, which I can then kind of pull the wall out from the wall that it's fixed to from the bottom. So almost like a reverse Murphy bed.
Exactly. So it doesn't go to overhang, but it does go to slab.
Slab to vert. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our segment here. Now it's time for us to kind of have our guest, Mike Reardon from the CCC, join in. So
very excited.
Let's see if we can get him in here.
Oh.
Hey, Mike, are you there? Us to kind of have
there he is.
Guest, Mike Reardon from the CCC, join in. So
howdy. Can you hear me?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike. Do you have?
Oh, sweet.
I don't know if you're able to turn your camera on.
Is it on now?
No,
not quite yet.
Uh-oh.
Let's see here. What do we got going on?
Oh, wait, hang on.
Are you getting?
I'm going to ask to start video. Maybe you get a cue, Mike.
Okay.
Let's see.
There
you are, Mike.
There we go. I think my phone fell asleep. That's fine.
Gotcha.
No worries.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so everybody, welcome Mike Reardon. He's the executive director of the Carolina Climbers Coalition. He's been the executive director now for the past year. It is a relatively new position within the organization. We have grown up as a grassroots nonprofit organization. So only in the last couple of years has there been a need, as the organization's grown and the things that they're doing, to necessitate an executive director to kind of keep things organized and keep things rolling. So Mike, if you could tell us a little bit more about the CCC, what the mission is, and a little bit about the contributions to the Carolinas.
Yeah. First, thanks, Paul, for putting this together. This is great. We've all been cooped up. But CCC's mission is to protect, preserve, and enhance different climbing areas throughout the Carolinas, and a little bit of Virginia, and maybe even a little bit of Tennessee. And we've been around since 1995 as a 501c3 nonprofit. We've got a board of 13 awesome, hardworking people, and then one staff person, and that's me. And yeah, we're in our 25th year this year, so we're 25 years old. Happy birthday!
It's pretty big time.
Happy birthday, CCC!
Yeah, we can rent a car now.
And exactly. And our newest board member is Paul Klem. So welcome, Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an honor to be a part of an organization that's doing really a lot of awesome things. I know, I got into climbing through climbing at TRC at the gym, but one of my passions is getting outside and exploring different bouldering areas around the state and around the world. So definitely looking forward to being able to get back to doing that and sharing with folks, safe ways to do it, ways to kind of reduce our impacts as more folks are getting into climbing. So appreciate that, Mike.
Yep.
So what sort of stuff is the CCC been up to? What sort of projects are they working on?
Holy cow. we got a big list.
It's a big question.
Yeah. I mean, we serve such a huge community as well, and so many different areas. But when you think of all of North Carolina and South Carolina, almost each area gets a little love from different stewards throughout each year. I'd say probably a lot of people on the call are maybe from the Piedmont region. So Asheboro is a big one. Asheboro, and we haven't, as the CCC, we haven't announced this too much, but it recently changed hands. It recently, the ownership changed, and in that at Asheboro, with the new owners, there was a big question mark: is the new owner still going to take on climbing access the way the old owner did? And luckily, the CCC's maintain a great relationship, and that kind of access is passed on to the new owner. So that was a huge win. A lot of that was thanks to former board member and president Brian Paste. He really built a lot of relationships there, and that's why we're able to climb at Asheboro, which I believe is the Crag highlight, right?
It is indeed.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for many of us here in the Triangle, like you said, it's the closest to home for us. It's in Asheboro, not too far from the North Carolina Zoo. Couple caveats: you do need to be a member of the Carolina Climbers Coalition in order to be at Asheboro. We have a lease agreement that allows our members to access it. So we'll talk a little bit more about how people can support the CCC here in a minute, but easy enough to become a member. It's $25 minimum annual dues for a normal adult. We actually have $15 annual dues for students, and then prices go up for additional supporting levels that you want to do. So
absolutely, and I can't promote it enough, honestly. $15 for students is really drop in the bucket for you guys, and it's supporting a great cause to help support everything that goes on with access in the Carolinas.
Yeah, we have 650 members now, and that's kind of an ongoing project. I think we could have thousands of members.
Absolutely.
Definitely for the different areas that we serve. Rumbling Bald last year had 13,000 climbing permits. 13,000 in 1 year. Wow. And when you just think of that number alone, hopefully a lot of those people are also people that give back in a stewardship sort of way and all the above. But I want to get back to projects. So Saratown is another big project.
Yeah.
That is a local one. AJ is our regional rep there, and he's been out replacing bolts like crazy. This past year, we finished a beautiful sustainable trail up to the base of that. That was thanks to an REI grant. A lot of people probably on the call were a part of that trail building process. Moore's in pilot locally, even though they're closed right now, obviously, but we've been working on different stewardship projects there. And one of our kind of ongoing North Carolina, especially focused projects, I guess you could call it, and also kind conservation is we've been working with the North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission on the peregrine closures, which has been really neat. They've helped train some of volunteers, some of our PCC volunteers, and we were able to monitor the potential peregrine site at the north end of Mooreswald. And this year we were able to get that closure lifted because there was not a peregrine nest there. But then on the flip side, on our land on Laurel Knob, we found a peregrine nest there last year. We haven't found it again this year, but there was one last year and it was a successful nest as well. Tom Caldwell and Mary Caldwell went after the nesting hatchling already went through, brought remnants from the nest to the biologists so that they could do some studies to see what the egg was like and all the above. And it turned out that it was a successful nest, and our cliff hatched a rare species, which is pretty awesome.
That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah. But Mooreswald's now, is closed right now, but the north end of Mooreswald is open all year. So that's definitely a benefit.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely a win. I mean, I think that it kind of shows the hand-in-hand kind of nature of the stewardship relationship that, I think is the best approach for the climbing community to kind of interact with other user groups that are, using our same natural resources, our parks. We are the ones that are utilizing those cliffs. So we're also, of course, going to be the ones that are most directly impacted by closures for birds and for endangered species and protected species. But due to limited state resources, the rule is typically like close if there's no information otherwise to suggest that mating isn't occurring. So by our volunteers going out and learning how to be trained biological spotters for the species, we're both protecting and ensuring that when there are birds they're nesting, that we're protecting them, but at the same time we're not just having kind of broad-based closures
by default.
Yeah, and that's a huge thank you to all of the climber volunteers that have been involved in that peregrine monitoring, but then also to the Wildlife Resource Commission. They've been open arms with us, and I think everyone's realized that it's better for both peregrines and for climbers when we all work together to figure out where those are, because then the blanket closures don't happen and we don't have entire walls closed for no good reason. But then also climbers realize, this is closed for a good reason, and we're going to respect that. And I think that's happened more so in the last couple of years. And it's just been a great statewide thing. We also opened 2 new cliffs this year in 2019, which is pretty awesome. Melrose Mountain, it's in Tryon, North Carolina. Little good local crag. And then Pumpkin Town, which is in Table Rock State Park, and holy cow, that granite is just perfect. It is good stuff, and
that's South Carolina, right, Mike?
Yeah, Table Rock, South Carolina. It's called the Pumpkin Town Wall. So the south side of Table Rock has been open to climbing, but now this is a different chunk of granite within Table Rock State Park. And we're taking on our biggest trail project that we've ever taken on. It's a 2-mile trail. It gains about 1,400 feet of elevation. We need volunteers.
Ian King is telling you to hush up about Pumpkin Town, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, the word's out, Ian.
It's too late, Ian. It's already going.
People are going to need to get their stiff-soled shoes resold.
Oh man. Yep. Ian and I climbed a route there. That was it was a great one.
Glad to hear it.
Yep.
So Mike, with trail projects like that, how should people get involved with that? If they wanna help out?
Well, obviously all of ours are canceled right now. So,
Fair.
so that, but in a typical normal time, staying in tune with our Instagram, with our Facebook pages, and then also our CCC site has events listed. So all different public events, and we average about when it's a good season, we average about one stewardship day per week out in a different crag somewhere. And last year we tallied 4,000 volunteer hours for crags in the Carolinas. So yes, please come out and be a part of it, and stay in touch there. Yeah,
Definitely.
They can also email me, mreardon@carolinaclimbers.org. I have a kind of stewardship list. Some days we post like bigger trail events. Like if we need a lot of people, we'll post it. Some days it's just a few people that get together to go tackle one job, whatever that one job is. But yeah, we'd love to have you.
So quick personal question for you, Mike. How did you get into climbing? What's your route into the sport?
I climbed a little bit out of high school. Just one day in the Adirondacks. It was like a guided trip, and knew I loved it. And then I worked in Yellowstone National Park for a summer when I was in college, and drove across country by myself and went to Devil's Tower just to visit it, and saw climbers scaling the face there, and thought, I need to do that.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to do that. What am I doing here walking around in a circle when I could be climbing up those cracks? So, but I basically then when I moved to Asheville about 15 years ago, and really started climbing then. Rumbling Bald, Looking Glass, all that stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Well, what's your ideal day of climbing? What gets you going? What sort of projects or trips do you dream about doing next?
And if I can just go to Rumbling Bald, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Or Pumpkin Town, but I won't talk about that for Ian. I love face climbing. The little granite face climbing is just the best stuff around in my mind. And and I also love moderates. I'm not a big maybe I need to train harder. I need to go to TRC more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we got some fitness classes for you. Right.
Yeah. But I love long moderates. So Red Rocks is one of my favorite places to climb, and
Red Rocks is amazing.
Yeah. So if I had a trip there, or Tuolumne Meadows has some fantastic climbs.
So yeah.
Very good.
So Mike, what would you call your home crag?
Probably Rumbling Bald and Looking Glass. Yep.
Fantastic.
Those are probably where I've spent the most amount of time, and Cedar Rock too.
Gotcha.
Working on guidebooks for all of those, but then before the guidebooks as well, obviously they were places that I've really fallen in love with. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, so I think we can just finish on if anybody has any questions for Mike, go ahead and start throwing those in the chat. But how can folks get involved? What's the best way for folks to support the CCC?
Let me pause this real quick. The best way is first to join, because then you get our newsletter and all of the above, but then you up our numbers as well as far as membership. Like I said, we've got 650 right now, but making sure that your annual membership is always up. That's a huge one. Second is to come to any of the events. So we've had events at TRC recently that even Paul put together. So thanks, Paul. and including our stewardship events as well. So stewardship events would be trail days. Sometimes we have bolt replacement days. Typically those are smaller numbers of people. And the Rumble.
The Rumble.
The Rumble.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
year.
the Rumble's our biggest event of the year. It's the bouldering competition at Rumbling Bald. It was so fun this year.
Yeah. So,
It was a blast.
Well, yeah. So, well, we appreciate you joining us, Mike. Thanks for your flexibility on a Friday evening. But I know that folks in the community, were really appreciated you joining and what you do just on a day-to-day basis, kind of like keeping things pushing forward with access for climbing in the Carolinas, maintenance of all the climbs that we're doing, whether it's replacing bolts or anchors. We're doing a lot of great things, and we couldn't do it without a great leader. So,
well, thanks, Paul, and it's totally an honor to be able to serve this community, because the community is amazing. I mean, we come together, have these different events, even something like this that you're putting together right now. I mean, I feel like our climbing community in the Carolinas is like nothing else, and I'm just honored to serve it in whatever way I can. So, at our board as well right now, including Paul, if you guys haven't picked up on it, the CCC board is pretty amazing. They're 13 great people. Go to our website, see what their names are, and send them a thank you letter.
Absolutely.
all right. Well, thanks again, Mike. Have a good evening and enjoy your weekend. And we'll be in touch. And yeah, stay safe and healthy out there.
Thanks for
All
joining
right.
us, Mike.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
Thank you.
Paul.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. So, Chris, that brings us to our last bit of segment here, the Crag highlight.
Yeah.
That was
let's,
pretty cool.
Let's
talking
chat
to
a little
Mike.
bit.
So tell me about Asheboro. So the idea with the Crag highlight each week is that we are going to share some pics and videos, and a little bit of beta, maybe how to get there, maybe some stories.
Absolutely.
So you're going to lead it off, Chris. Let us know about Asheboro.
Absolutely.
Or the Burl, as we
The
call it.
Burl. The Burl is a very appropriate name.
Why do we
Yeah.
call it the Burl?
Man, we totally should. I do. I think every folder on my computer of footage and photos from Asheboro is nicknamed Burl, and then the date. I don't think I have anything that says Asheboro.
Yeah.
It's all Burl.
Well,
But no, Asheboro's a fantastic local crag to the Triangle. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, you do have to be a CCC member to go to Asheboro. It's part of our lease with the landowner. But if you're able to make it out there, I mean, it's definitely worth joining the CCC for. It's a beautiful crag. It's a really dense boulder field, full of all kinds of just beautiful metamorphic rock.
yeah, it's granite, guys. It's granite, like an hour and 15 minutes from the Triangle.
Beautiful.
It's pretty unique that there's something like that around here, because it's not a very common type of rock type, and
Absolutely.
at this part of the state.
It's an incredibly unique boulder field. Paul was the one who brought me out there for the first time a while back, and the timing was great on it, because I'd been going to Moors a ton, and I love Moors. Moors is a wonderful place, but I had coming out to Asheboro and finding a completely different style of rock and style of climbing was a huge thing for a huge reason for how much I love it. As Will Sanders just dropped in the chat, slap some slopers. That is very much what you'd be doing at Asheboro. I'll actually go ahead and share some photos and media from some of my time at Asheboro, if I can get that going. But we've got, first off, just a beautiful shot of Paul's hand, actually,
After slapping the sloper.
after slapping a sloper out at Asheboro. The rock is very, very textured. Your skin may have a little trouble with it the first time out there, but you'll develop what we call the Asheboro armor.
Yes.
It's a nice thick skin that'll hold up to the rock pretty well. But we have Paul demonstrating kind of a
Sloper technique.
Exactly, the gecko technique.
Yes.
He's on the climb the saucer, which is a beautiful. The stand is what goes at 6, something like that. It's a beautiful climb.
5, 6. Everything tends to be a little bit harder than advertised there.
Yes,
so,
indeed. Everything tends to be a little bit off grade, but
thanks, JP.
Yeah,
I know you're on there. I know you're watching.
I know we have you in here, JP. Yeah, JP. If you see him in the chat, John Provatero, he was very involved with the development of the Crag. So give him some thanks. Clarence, I did not do a 10 out there. I did a 9. I did crotch rocket, which is, I saw you guys mentioning your favorite climbs at Asheboro out there, and crotch rocket is definitely my favorite. It's a beautiful compression line on slopers.
There's oh look, here's one. Let's go ahead and play that, Chris.
So this is called Larry King. This is
coincidentally enough, another
super fun
live
climb.
talk show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry King is pretty sweet.
Beautiful climb.
The reference for Larry is that it's a low ball, right? So it's got like this low start. It's not super tall, but it's pretty fun. So JP will tell you, back in the heyday of setting things, they were, or when I say setting things, that's maybe developing the boulder fields. Everything that was a low ball they called Larry. So it was like Larry King and Larry Flint has the Hustler up in Moores. There's a lot of Larry references.
Indeed. It's really good. I mentioned the texture of the rock, slapping some slopers. You get a little bit of blood sometimes. Not the bloodiest my hand has ever been out there, but it's something.
Yeah.
But
I've got a couple problems that definitely gave me years of challenges there.
Yeah, let's talk about Picasso for a second, Paul, shall we?
Yeah. So this climb, it goes at V6. Some people may argue that there's maybe not a V6 move on the boulder, that it's just like 20 V5 moves in a row. It's
a long boulder.
It's a lot of moves. It starts in a roof and then curls around this arête onto a slab face that you finish, and it's a little tall. You don't really want to fall off the top of it. You could definitely do some things to your ankles. I think we both saw evidence of that.
Whew, that's right. I forgot about that. I thought you were
I in the 2 years of attempts that I tried it, I definitely sprained my ankle at least once on it. So basically, this picture that you see right here, I'm like in the process of wrapping around the corner. I was able to get to that spot pretty much every time for the last 2 years that I tried it, right? So I could get to this one spot right here, and then I would fall and possibly twist my ankle. But
fortunately, it was only that one time, as far as we know.
Yes. So, but finally made it over it. Chris, you're actually making a movie about Asheboro, aren't you?
I am indeed. I'm working on a documentary about Asheboro currently. Looking at the history here, I'll stop sharing for now. But working on this documentary about the history of Asheboro, the current status of the Crag, and the future of it. So we've been working on stuff. Of course, with everything going on right now, we've had a little bit of trouble with filming, but really exciting project that I'm glad to tell the story of. Just such an amazing local Crag. I got to talk to JP a lot. Got a lot of cool stories.
Yeah, what's the deal with it? Do you have any history on it that you can share?
I do. So basically it started with JP and his crew and a group of people from Greensboro
It was
getting
like
out
the
there and climbing.
80s,
Yeah, I think late
1980s,
late
yeah.
80s, I want to say, early
Yeah.
80s. Paul JP can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I believe it was like early 80s. They started getting out there, putting up some boulders, establishing some climbs, all that kind of thing. Pre-pad era, so a lot of the stuff, if you have been out there, you know a lot of the stuff is kind of scary, and doing that without a pad, I definitely wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable with it at this point. But I major respect.
Well, the funny
yes.
thing, Mike Reardon was telling me he was answering questions from the CCC info request email the other day, and someone asked him if it would be safe to go bouldering at Asheboro without pads, and JP might tell you, yeah.
I mean, the landings are all pretty good, I would say.
It just depends on how good you are, doesn't it?
I wouldn't say safe, but you could do it. I'm not gonna promote that. I'm not gonna promote that. I would use a pad.
Yeah, let's bring a pad.
Yeah, bring
Please
a pad.
bring a pad.
Bring a pad. JP says early 80s.
Good.
Yeah. I would definitely bring a pad. The landings are great though. That's something I do want to say is the landings are all fantastic. It's very accessible crag.
Yeah, and it's actually got a pretty good approach. Like I said, aside from right now the drive up, you probably want a little bit clearance on your vehicle. Like 4x4 vehicles probably preferred to get into the access area, especially if it's been a little wet recently.
Do it, but it's a little tricky.
Yeah, there's some potholes and things, but we're hoping to maybe do some work on that here soon. So stay posted about how you can maybe help in the future to help repair some of that. But the walk up is it's a little steep, but it takes about 5 minutes. It's really pretty quick approach. The whole boulder field is situated on the top of this kind of mound. So you've got kind of a boulder field that you hike up a switchback to get to the top of this hill, and there's boulders all on the top of the hill. So
we have two very conflicting messages in the chat.
Okay.
Safety first, and then immediately followed by JP. Padless keeps you alert.
Yeah. So my wife and mother of my firstborn child and only child for that matter says safety first, use a pad, consider a helmet. Your life partner will thank you. And JP says
follows it up.
Padless keeps you alert. And indeed it does.
It does do that, I will say. But
so.
I would not recommend it personally. So with the history of Asheboro, they started getting out. There was some, get development, early 90s, pads come around. But at some point there was some access issues with some local residents that had some issue with people coming through their land to access the Asheboro boulders. The owner of the land had no problem. Was very open and welcoming to boulders, but people who they had to use their land to access the boulders were not as much. So that led to Mike Dean actually bringing Asheboro to the CCC as an opportunity to open a lease with the owner of the land. So after some negotiation, it worked out that they ended up building a road. The owner, out of pocket, built a road, a separate road up to Asheboro boulders, so that there wouldn't be any more of those access issues. And from then on, we've had the CCC has had a lease agreement with the owner of the land, Mr. Krotz, and until the recent purchase, of course.
So we're the nice thing is that the new landowner is also accommodating to climbers. So they are really looking out for the environmental resources of the land. Is kind of the big primary goal of the current landowner. So as long as we are respectful users and stewards of the area, I think we're going to be welcome. As long as we're on those good terms.
Absolutely. which part of that is, of course, as mentioned before, being a member of the CCC to come up, that is part of the lease. But in general, being a good steward, which I'm sure everybody in the chat knows what it means to be a good steward of the rock. But
Right.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, cool. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Chris, about Asheboro?
I don't believe so. I think we covered most of the good stuff. Definitely get out there if you guys can. Join the CCC, go out, have some fun. It's a lot of fun to play on.
Once we're able to get out again.
Of course. Once we're able to get out there, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, we're all kind of hunkering down right now. Like I said, most of these parks are closed. The CCC land is private land, but of course, there's the stay-at-home order through the end of April in North Carolina. So, really encouraging folks to stay home and not go out to these places right now. Hopefully in future weeks we'll kind of have the opportunity to share some more suggestions about what you could be doing in this time off. Some at-home training, maybe with the hangboard. I hope to maybe have some of our coaches from the gym on and kind of highlighting different things that you could be doing to stay strong. So definitely keep posted. Let's see here. All right. So do you guys have any other questions about the Burl? We can kind of answer those as we go into the next section.
Actually, JP just mentioned it's too hot for the Burl anyway. It is important to mention Asheboro is definitely a winter crag.
Yes, it is a very friction dependent, as with most granite climbing. We're talking about micro crimps, very small features for your feet for smearing, a lot of compression and hand jam, finger crack technique. So all that is like super conditions dependent.
Exactly.
Like I said, the boulder field sits in the sun for most of the climbable weather. So if it's too hot, like anything above really 60 to 65 degrees is getting a little too hot for there. And certainly you want to consider humidity, right? So
yes.
Relative humidity, if it's going to be kind of a dry, windy day, like one that's going to be really sunny and cold, say 40 to 50 degrees and sunny, no clouds, that's going to be kind of your ideal day for Asheboro. It'll feel like it's 20 degrees warmer and you can wear a t-shirt. But if it's like 60, 65 degrees and there's like a little bit of moisture in the air, which is very common for our springs and falls around here, probably not your best day. You're probably better to go to Pilot or Moors or something like that, based on the way that the rock sets up for climbing and temperatures.
Will Sanders brought up a good point, asking me about the kind of a common question, a guide for Asheboro. There is not so much of a guide for Asheboro. There doesn't really exist. The best way to get out there is get out there with somebody get out there with a friend once all this stuff is blown over.
Jenny Salzer says that there's no such thing as bad conditions, just bad climbers. All right, Jenny.
I mean,
touche.
I have to agree. I don't know. I'm not one to count conditions. I like to get out there all the time, but I know I'm in the minority there.
Yeah, it's there's fun stuff to do out there when it's warm. Heck, JP, I've seen pictures of you from the mid 80s climbing where there's leaves on the trees, and we all know
it's all green.
That it was not cold then. You guys were like wearing like short shorts and like long socks and stuff. Like you just finished the New York Marathon or something.
Exactly, it's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so let's move on to the stuff to keep the stoke.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll finish up here with just a couple things. Let's see here, Chris.
Sounds good. Let's see here. I'm gonna.
You want to share yours, or you want me to share it?
I'll share it. I'll do that.
All right.
Let me just get it all set there. Oop. All right. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. So we got a good little list there.
Nice. So yeah, so some things that you can be doing. We're all sitting around looking at our phones a lot more probably than we used to. Kind of keeping up with our friends and family. But you know, there's also some things out there climbing related that can kind of keep you psyched and interested.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. All kinds of media out there to consume while we're all, cooped up. Yeah, when it comes to movies, I know Meru, I believe, is on Amazon. I think it was on Netflix at a point, but I don't know if it is anymore.
I think it is. I can actually go and check here.
Fantastic movie made by Jimmy Chin and Renan Ozturk.
Yeah, it's actually on Prime Video right now.
Fantastic.
So yeah, you can watch that. They're the same Jimmy Chin, same guy who did the Free Solo movie with Alex Honnold.
Yes, one of his
amazing
hits.
climber, photographer. I'm sure most of you guys know about Jimmy Chin. My mom got me this movie for Christmas a few years ago, and I had to go and buy a Blu-ray player because I didn't have a Blu-ray player, and she got it on Blu-ray, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, worth it.
I definitely worth buying a Blu-ray player for.
Certainly.
Dawnwall, we got Real Rock. How do you watch Real Rock and Dosage?
So let me go ahead and pull up that for you because I got that pulled up. So on the Sender Films website, senderfilms.com/productions, you can get to everything they've made, which they are the ones responsible for Dosage, which is pre-Real Rock. Dosage 1 through 5 goes up to 5. It's basically the same thing as Real Rock, which is a collection of short films that are all rock climbing based. So Dosage 1 through 5 were the earliest thing, and then from there it goes into Real Rock. I believe it starts at like 8. It starts at 5 through the latest one is 14, but you can go in, click on that, and then rent or purchase directly from this website.
Nice. I know that have you ever used Red Bull as an app for your like smart TV you can download on your like Chromecast or your Amazon Fire Stick? And they have a climbing channel on Red Bull. So they have all sorts of content. They've got some Real Rock seasons that you can watch, some of the older ones, like seasons 1 through 5, actually, are on there. And it's free content. And there's also a live kind of streaming content that just cycles through all of their climbing content. So a lot of times I put that on. Definitely, my wife will attest that I've made my daughter watch probably too many climbing videos at this point. So it was one of her favorite songs for a little while was the Real Rock intro song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone else online, Kyle mentioned that Fine Lines was a good movie also on Amazon. And then I put on here
On the Verge, right?
On the Verge, yes.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
I'll pull that up.
While you're doing that, JP says Dosage 1 has Umstead and Mama, I believe, which it does. I just got that confirmed by Dakota. Yeah, it's grandmother. He has some content from Umstead and Grandmother Mountain, North Carolina, Crags. So go check that out.
Nice. I like this cool movie about this British boulderer called Out of Obsession.
Yeah, this one's really good.
So this basically encapsulates for me the passion that you get about a certain climb that inspires you, that you want to return to, and it borderlines on obsession. So kind of how much you think about it, the lengths that you're willing to go to continue trying it. Really good cinematography in it as well. Really good quality video. And then the story is one that I think most climbers could probably identify with, just kind of getting inspired by a climb, wanting to do it. Chris, you actually had have a film called Tsunami that you made about
Yes.
a local climb at Moores a few
do.
years ago, called Tsunami. The climb's called Tsunami, the film's called Tsunami, and it's about a climber, friend of yours, I believe, that
Yes.
that found Tsunami as a project, the process of like being inspired, trying it, training for it, and just that kind of the perseverance that's involved in getting
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of similar story, involving that process.
Let's see here.
Absolutely. Let's
Um,
see.
What else we got on the list there? We got some movies, we got some books. I already kind of talked about the this book. I would definitely suggest.
Yes, and as well as Push by Tommy Caldwell. We mentioned those earlier. Oh, Ian says the Fred Becky film was cool. It was very good. That one was really good. That was on Amazon, I believe.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Bag?
Yes, Dirt Bag.
Dirt Bag. Yes.
Yes.
So that's a great film. Let's see here. I'm kind of looking at. They've got Valley Uprising is also on Amazon for free if you've not seen that or could see it again.
Oh, you can always see Valley Uprising again.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's Free Solo is on there. Yeah, there's a bunch of different content that's out there on Netflix. I'm sure most of you guys have probably already thumbed through that stuff.
Yeah.
And what else we have? So
let's see. Got
videos.
A bunch of stuff for videos. I'll go ahead and share.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the videos. We got Mellow Light,
Hard Climbs, Bear Cam. Actually, yeah. So I'll go ahead and flip through those tabs.
Yeah.
So
so they're mostly YouTube channels, right?
I have mostly YouTube channels on here. Mellow is kind of the place to keep up with hard climbing these days. A lot of uncuts and a lot of quick edits from pro climbers around. Things like that. And then we have some local climbers to TRC started up Mellow Light.
Like a Miller Light kind of play on words there.
Exactly.
So yeah, the Cornejos, right? So
the Cornejos, yes.
That's Luke Cornejo's channel. Many of you guys probably know Luke and Nick Cornejo, the brothers that are big climbers, climbing out of TRC. Luke lives in Luke lives in Chattanooga right now, and Nick still is here locally. So so we've got I talked a little bit about the Out of Obsession, and then other things that we could talk about here are different influencers, right? So we've got Top Rope the World. I don't know if you've heard of these guys. They're a pretty funny meme generator for climbing. I think we could all use a little bit of sense of humor these days. So any sort of like climbing meme, you can follow them here at Top Rope the World. Let's see, who else did we have? We had the Just Bomber Gear. Yeah, these guys are great too. So for you gearheads out here, you're probably sure you know about Just Bomber Gear, but basically they take pictures of different placements that may or may not be advisable to fall on. So so kind of the joke is that would you want to take a fall on this? I don't know. That looks maybe not. So Just Bomber Gear is good.
Indeed.
Other sorts of influencers, you know, there's a lot of professional climbers out there right now that are also not climbing. They're staying inside, they're doing training routines from home. So, you know, consider dialing up your favorite rock climber. Many of them are doing Q&A sessions right now on Instagram Live, Facebook Live features that you can kind of chat with them directly as well. So that's definitely something else to keep in mind. So
Absolutely. It looks like got some suggestions for bouldering brobats and the dab rats
okay.
for YouTube channels to check out. I can vouch for that. They're stellar.
Yeah, let's see here. Going back. Oh, The Island is Sweet on YouTube for free by Dave Graham, John Caldwell. Free solo. People are talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got Ian says he's got a cameo in Valley Uprising.
Oh, really? I'll have to go back and look for that.
Just scrub through for that.
Yeah, seriously. Dude with arms crossed at the facelift. All right. Take a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, cool. Well, hope everybody enjoyed, you know. First try, right?
Yeah.
We'll do this again next week. You know, try and clean up our act a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, hope everybody had fun. Definitely had fun talking with you guys. You know, we didn't get a chance to do any invites this weekend. I think we can work on making that a little bit more available next week. Get a few more guests kind of rolling in. Get some more interaction from you guys. And yeah, really appreciate you joining in.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Send us, let us know what you guys are doing. You know, send Paul an email, paul@trianglerockclub.com. Let him know what you're up to so we can feature you guys in. You know, let us know what's up. Let us know what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear about, anything you guys want on the show. Any feedback you guys got, we really appreciate it.
All right. Well, signing off from Paul's Garage, and I guess we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week.